Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Matt, Christy, Alonso. One of my favorite movies of 2019. Marriage
James Bond
Story.
style. 2019.
There you go. Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story. It's opening in theaters this week. It's hitting Netflix in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it opened in Los Angeles yesterday.
Oh, right. Yes, indeed. You're correct.
A weird Wednesday opening. Shall I
In
describe?
like one theater in town, right?
Did it?
At like the Vista or the Los Feliz 3 or something. Yeah, it's Netflix releases are like there's still so many theater chains that just won't deal with Netflix. Like, which is the whole thing with The Irishman. Like that's why it's only playing at like indie theaters and the Draft House.
It's not the Landmark or the ArcLight.
It is at the Landmark. Actually.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, it's at Landmark, Egyptian, and Alamo.
Right,
and that's
but like
it.
AMC, Regal, Cinemark, which collectively have probably 70%, 80% of the screens in the U.S. aren't going to show it.
Weird.
Because they want that 3 month.
Well, keep cutting off your nose to spite your face, theater chains.
It's weird. Anyway, so Marriage Story, if you can go see it, you should, no matter where you see it. It is about a marriage falling apart. It is about Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. They've been married for what, like 10 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And they have a little boy who's maybe like 6 years old, and they live in New York, and she is this formerly really famous television actress who kind of gave up that side of her career to do more challenging stage work with Adam Driver, who's this avant-garde theater director, like up-and-coming hot young thing, and she wanted to do more serious, challenging work with him, and she gave up what could have been, this big, splashy TV and film career.
Well, she was kind of infamous for like some teen TNA comedy that she made. Apparently.
Yeah, and they live in New York, and they've got a son, and we see them right as they are like on the verge of total collapse.
Yeah.
And I love the way this film is structured from the very beginning, because you hear each of them in a long monologue, long voiceover. Each is saying what he or she really loves about the other. And you realize afterward that like that's what they were forced to do as part of their therapy, was write down a whole list of things that they each liked about the other person to try to go into it in a positive way.
They're pre-divorce therapy.
Yeah. So they're doomed from the start. And so the movie isn't really about the tension of will their marriage or won't it fall apart. That is definitely happening. And it's how do they each then forge a new life for himself, herself. Complicating matters is that she is on the verge of this new TV show, which will relaunch her career in a new way. He is on the verge of taking his play to Broadway, which would put him on a whole different level. And they are fighting about whether to live in New York or LA.
She has to do the TV show in LA, which is where she's from and where her family is. So it becomes this sort of coast to coast issue. They originally talk about how like they were going to just do their divorce, in an amicable fashion without lawyers. But then one of them talks to a lawyer, and then suddenly it gets very complicated.
Right, and neither of them will budge about where they live, which is hard when these are cities on opposite sides of the country, and there's a little boy whose life is at stake here as far as his comfort and his security. So this is so like piercingly honest, like devastatingly, like richly, painfully honest, but beautiful, surprisingly too, and very, very funny.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be a funny movie, but I laughed so much all throughout this, because just quite often it's just the absurdity of how everybody else treats them, how everybody else is reacting to this, because no one knows quite what to say. There's a whole really funny bit with Merritt Wever as Scarlett Johansson's sister, who like has to hand over like divorce papers to Adam Driver and doesn't know how to do it, and there's like a whole backstory of why she's doing it the way she is, and like a pie gets involved, and it's so, and it builds on the absurdity and the surrealism of this moment in a way that's like, it feels so good to laugh in those moments.
Yeah, no, it's funny and it's heartbreaking, which is a tough balance to pull off, but it totally does it. And it was the kind of movie where like sometimes I was on his side and then I'd be on her side, and then I would just be like, ugh, there are no winners here, and you just ultimately want them to come to a place where the kid's going to be okay, and they're going to like have some level of compromise that isn't going to destroy either one of them. I'm curious about your thoughts, because I have talked to one woman about this, although she is in the process of a version of this herself. So, but
I am not getting divorced.
No, you were definitely not. But she was saying that she felt it was too skewed toward Adam Driver because Noah Baumbach's a man and because he like sympathized too much with him, whereas I felt it was more even-handed. But what was your takeaway?
I felt it was totally even-handed, and they each had really good points. They were each assholes at points, and they each had, something significant to say about the way things should go forward. So I felt it was really balanced, actually. And I know this is very personal for Noah Baumbach.
Yes.
Like, it's inspired by his own parents' divorce and his own divorce from Jennifer Jason Leigh. And so you can feel how personal it is. And
Yeah.
you can, and that it is willing to go to places in not a melodramatic way, in not like an overwhelming way, but just in a way that is true
A
over
recognizably
and over
human
again.
way,
Yeah,
yeah.
over and over again. Even if it does seem like a highfalutin realm in which these people live, a beautiful big house in Brentwood or wherever it is. It's somewhere on the west side. Maybe
yeah.
it's Hancock Park. They make a reference to getting the pie from Jones on Third, which is like
Oh,
near
yeah.
near Cedars and near Beverly Center.
Well, there's several
anyway.
locations, aren't
And-
there?
Are there?
No, there's only two.
Is it
I
just the
think.
one?
There's the one on
the one on
Third.
Third?
There's
Okay.
one in the valley.
They're definitely not in the valley.
No.
Jones on Third. I
No.
assure you.
No. This movie
Right.
does not take
Okay.
place in the valley.
Because I assure you, I know
What?
there's a Jones on Third. in the
No.
What valley? Yeah, no, not in this movie.
Maybe Hancock
Right.
Park. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
probably.
it's and they're white and they're creative and they're wealthy, but
Yeah.
but still there's such honesty to the way that they regard each other.
So many good performances. I mean,
and,
like
and the supporting cast is tremendous.
like Laura Dern and Ray Liotta and Alan Alda and Julie Hagerty and all these just amazing folks. There is a great bit. I don't know the woman's name who plays the social worker.
Oh, right.
She's amazing.
She comes and she monitors them.
Adam Driver, toward the end of the film, sings a song from Sondheim's Company that is just like one of the most gut-wrenching moments I've had in a movie all year.
I don't think I knew he could sing. Did you know he could
I
sing?
did not know he could sing. What can't Adam Driver
He can do everything. Although he did do Outer Space.
We also
in,
forget
Inside
that
Llewyn
he
Davis.
was inside Llewyn Davis, and he is singing.
Oh, that's right.
He's just saying Outer Space.
I forgot about that. But,
I
but
mean,
this
he's
is,
singing a little bit too, but this is like him naked, essentially, emotionally, just him in front of a
Yeah.
mic singing "Being Alive."
Yeah. There are two different songs from Company in this movie, and Company, of course, is a show about like relationships and whether or not they work. So there's a call out to scenes from a marriage. There's a lot of reference points in this movie to other plays and films about relationships falling apart.
But you don't need to know Sondheim to have those
No.
moments work on you.
Absolutely.
So it's just he just gets up and sings, and it's a song that is a reflection of how he's feeling at this moment of massive turmoil and flux for him, and yet it's not painfully on the nose.
No.
There's a great
no.
poetry and romanticism and lyricism to that song.
And he finds a way to take a song that is something of a Broadway karaoke staple and find a way to make it super specific about his character and where his character is at that moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a devastating moment. I love this movie. Please, if you don't have a chance to see it theatrically, I'm not going to be the kind of big city dick critic who's like, oh, you have to see it on the big screen. Watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
It'll be great on Netflix, but just see this movie. It's so incredible.
And especially if you appreciate great acting that's not necessarily big showy acting. A lot of it is just like technique. Like there's this great monologue that Scarlett Johansson gives when she's seeing Laura Dern as her lawyer for the first time and telling the story of how they met and how their relationship evolved. And it's a long monologue, and she's having to like get up and go to the bathroom and blow her nose, and then she sits down and she cries a little bit, and then she stops crying and has to do it all in the span of this one little section of the script. And then Adam Driver has to do that several times
Yeah.
as well. There's one image that really got me when they're apart at this point, and she has moved into some little house on the east side maybe, and there's something having to do with like the lights, or like she can't figure out something with the front yard, and he comes over to help her, and they're both pushing the
Gates.
gate closed, and he's on one side, she's on the other, and it cuts, and then the door's closed. And it seems like maybe too on the nose symbolically, but it's like a lovely kind of moment of like, oh, the gate's closed now.
and if you like Laura Dern in Big Little Lies,
Oh my
you'll
God.
really enjoy what she's doing here.
It's so showy, and like the clothes are great, and Alan Alda's great, like so lovely. Like I love the contradiction of Alan Alda's character, because like he's trying to give Adam Driver advice, but then just keeps telling him how futile this whole process
Yes.
is, and like, don't do that because you're going to go to court. Wait, I don't want to go to court, but you're going to end up going to court. So
and Wally Shawn is a
Yeah.
member of the New York Acting Company who like has big stories about all the actresses he's banged over the years. Bananas.
there are a multitude of like really lovely small moments here in a film that is about big important stuff. So
Well said.
there you go. So go see it. I'm saying 9.3.
9.7.
Okay, we're saying 9.5 is our number. It's at 97% on the tomato meter. And it's funny watching this thinking like, he's also Kylo Ren. That seems so silly right now. It seems so silly that he does that. But he brings gravitas also to something like Kylo Ren.
And I just want to say real quick, Noah Baumbach is on a roll.
Yep.
Like he's had like 5 or 6 really incredible movies in a row now. It's like, it's really breathtaking. Like if you've not seen Meyerowitz Stories or While We're Young, Greenberg, like I mean, he's just been bam, bam, bam. They've
Francis Ha.
Francis Ha, yes, one of my. I got to do a best of the decade list, and that's a very strong contender.
I'm excited for you guys to see The Report because I really liked Adam Driver in that too.
I did not love The Report.
Well,
I have seen it.
I have not seen it yet.
I think it's like a 2-hour C-SPAN information dump.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to
but
it.
Adam Driver's good.
He is.
Okay, that's my point.
All right. Anyway.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Indeed. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on the social medias at BeFastAllDay, and go check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We've got some really amazing stuff that we're doing for our members right now, exclusive TV recaps of HBO's The Watchmen, HBO's Watchmen, HBO's His Dark Materials, and Apple TV Plus's The Morning Show, only for our Patreon subscribers. If you've already joined, awesome, thank you, you're great. And if you haven't, think about it, you might enjoy it.
It's kind of great. And on Monday, I have for you Maggie McKay.
Yay!
Maggie McKay, so she's from Vidiot here in LA. It was this great video store that was around. It was founded in like 1985, and they were just a staple on the west side. They were in Santa Monica for a long time. And they did screenings and all kinds of cool events and just a great sense of community. And then, like so many awesome longtime LA places, they had to move because the rent got jacked up, which keeps happening all over town. So they are in the process of relaunching over way on the east side in Eagle Rock, and they found this old theater that they're going to renovate. It's going to be a video store. They're going to do screenings and all the great stuff. So Maggie comes to talk about that.
Vidiot's is one of the last of the great video stores pretty much anywhere in this country, and I think
people still buy video.
I think as we discover that things on streaming aren't always going to be streaming or can't always be found on streaming, I miss the video store. I wish I still had one down the block from me, and so they're doing the Lord's work.
Right. The algorithm can suggest things to you, but it's not the same as having a human being who loves movies that you can have a conversation with, who might turn you on to something that you never would have heard of or watched before. And, so Maggie's great.
And can point you to rent a thing that Netflix doesn't have and never will have.
Right.
So, cool. So join us for that, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.